And I call the meeting of the Development Review Board to order. What's the date?
Today's the 20th,
20th.
April 20th. Okay, the first item on our agenda are the minutes from our last meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
I approve.
Second, man.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so that has passed. Next item on our agenda is the witness oath. And just so everyone knows, if you do present evidence or speak to the board this evening, you'll be testifying under oath. And I'll just read this so you folks know what your oath is. I solemnly swear or affirm under the pains and penalty of perjury that the statements I make, testimony I give, and other evidence I submit to the board at the board's public hearing held on this date shall be true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. So normally we have a sign-in sheet, but since we're on Zoom, we'll just leave it at that, and everyone just know that they'll be testifying under oath this evening. I'm actually gonna hold on just a minute. I see our minutes taker just joined us, so I'm going to promote her to panelist so we can see her.
Could you also promote Abby to panelist
Sure.
as well?
I'll
Awesome.
do that. All right, so everybody's in the meeting now. I'm going to catch Linda up if she didn't see that. Linda, can you hear me?
I can.
Did you see? Did you see the minutes get approved?
I did. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, so we're all here. Next item on our agenda is disclosure of any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest regarding the matter this evening. I know that Charlie, you wanted to address the board on that.
Yes, I'm in the butter, so I'd like to recuse myself unless I'm necessary. I will be here.
Okay, so Charlie will recuse himself. We have enough board members to have a quorum. So Charlie, thank you. If we didn't have a quorum, I would have asked SVMC if they opposed to staying on. But since we have plenty of folks, I think it makes sense for you to accuse yourself since you are a butter.
And Dan,
Okay.
also,
and I know Dan Malmberg had something he wanted.
Yes, my wife is an employee of the health providers at the hospital, and I don't think I need to recuse myself, but I will if anybody has an objection to that.
Okay, so Tom, as the representative for SVMC, do you have any problem with Dan Malmberg continuing to serve on the DRB for this hearing?
Oh, I don't.
Okay, all right, so we're good. There's nobody in the audience right now, so we don't have to ask them. And as long as the board members are okay with it, Dan, you're good to go.
Good.
Okay, we have one and only one hearing this evening. It's Southwestern Vermont Healthcare Corporation. Everyone knows they're at 100 Hospital Drive, and the SVMC is seeking approval for the expansion and modernization of the emergency room department. So, Jason, are you taking the lead on this, or is Tom going to start it out?
I'm gonna MC this, but I'll just briefly introduce the team, and then I'll hand it over to Tom can talk about the purpose and need for the project and give a little bit more detail on that, and then we can move on and discuss the type of site plan improvements and modifications that we're making, and then we'll do a brief presentation on the elevation. So I'm Jason Dolmich. I'm with MSK Engineers. I have Tom D, the Chief Executive Officer of Southwestern Vermont Healthcare. Ron Zimmerman, who's the Director of Engineering, is with us as well. We have also Abby Shalou, who's our permitting specialist from our office at MSK, and then Joe Lonergan, who's the project architect for La Valley Brensinger, who's completing the architectural design and project management for this. So without further ado, Tom, please take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Jason, and thank you all for inviting me here. This is, I think, the first time I've been in front of this group, and I appreciate the opportunity to meet you. And my comments will be very, very brief. I guess I just want to state I can't overemphasize the importance of this project to SVMC, and I think the community. If you during the last 18 months or 15 months, I should say, during the pandemic, I think that's only served to highlight how critical this type of project is. I mean, this will really transform our emergency services at SVMC, and to service our community and as well as the region. You may not be aware of it, but our emergency room last undertook its major renovations back in the 70s. And when we renovated the emergency room and built it out, we built it for about 14,000 patients a year. And now we're seeing about 24,000 patients a year. And clearly, I think we have a first class. It's an award-winning emergency room in terms of our professional staff, but the infrastructure and the facilities have really not kept pace. And I think this project is going to allow us to really improve our patient experience, especially over alleviating overcrowding that we have, as well as enhancing the privacy for our patients and family members who go into the emergency room. I think it's going to reduce the potential for infection transmission, again, which we have been challenged with during the pandemic during the last year. And also, I think it's going to help to reduce our patient wait time, which is always a challenge in any emergency room, and enhance our patient throughput. The actual project itself will include us having two major trauma rooms. And really right now we have one major trauma room. So we'll have two, and it'll call for 12 exam rooms, and also a space for fast track where I think we're looking to have 4 fast track treatment rooms, which is really rapid treatments to get people through the emergency room quicker. And a key feature that we've added to this project is we're going to make the entire emergency room negative pressure. And I think that is best practice, and one which very few emergency rooms, I think, in the state of Vermont have that. And another key piece is that we're going to enhance our telemedicine connectivity to Dartmouth-Hitchcock, and that's going to allow more of our patients to stay local and to reduce the number of helicopter transports that we have coming in and out of SVMC. And one of the major things, and you may not be aware of this, but certainly the growing need in our region and across the country, but certainly we're feeling it, to be able to treat more patients with mental and behavioral health. And we've seen a 30% increase in behavioral health, mental health patients during my time there, and that's about 10 years. So we're creating a five-bedded space that will allow for much more privacy, and will allow for a group room and a screen patio area and window access to the outside, which is important. Right now, the current space does not have that. So, we're very excited about this. But I will tell you, of course, and Jason and the team will talk about the site. The site has some work to be done, and I think this will enhance the flow of our traffic and allow patients better access to our hospital with closer parking to our front entryway. So service-wise, I think this project, and we have many projects that we're going to be scheduling, and we'll probably be coming to see you a lot more often over the next 5, 6, 7 years. I'd say this is the most important project, because for an emergency room of a community hospital, there's no more important service to meet everyone's needs. So thank you for your consideration tonight, and certainly any questions I can help answer.
Thanks, Tom. I'm going to suggest that we hold all questions until we get the presentation, unless some board members have some burning questions they want to ask Tom right now. Nope. Okay, Jason, are you up next?
I think I'm up next, so I'll share my screen if you'll allow it.
You should be able to.
All right. So I'll just open up. I'm just going to open up the site plan. We'll actually start with the demolition plan for the site, or we'll start with the overview of the site. Let me get my annotation. So this is, can people see my spotlight?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. So for those of you who are not familiar with it, the hospital is located on Hospital Drive, in between Dewey Street and Monument Avenue in Bennington. The primary location of the development occurring within the hospital area is around the emergency department, and the front entrance, as well as some additional improvements around the existing sort of patient parking lot in between the medical office and the Tulin building. The project will include the demolition of the lodge, as well as some modifications of existing site features, and will so with the new emergency department, or with the portion of the emergency department that requires expansion to accommodate the modernization effort, this part of the building will overtake or occupy the same space as where the current entrance is. And we will also be adding a connector between the Tulin building and the emergency department, as, and I believe, Tom, this is correct, the Tulin building is going to act as the overflow to the ED, particularly for respiratory illnesses. And with that, we will be modifying the existing drive, which accesses here. That's going to become an ambulance bay only. And then the entrance to the hospital, the patient entrance and drop off, will come on the other side of the Tulin building, and will create a new one-way drive space through here for patient pickup and drop off, as well as some closer handicap or accessible parking spaces. And then some minor landscape improvements inside the existing parking area, as well as some additional street trees to really bring some landscaping along the entrance of Hospital Drive. We're then doing some minor modification to reroute employee access to the site through the front entrance as well. And that makes up the extent of the site plan improvements in a broad measure. So at this point, I'll turn this over to Joe. And Joe, would you like to share your screen, or would you like me to play host?
If you don't mind playing host, if you just want to jump to the elevations.
Absolutely. And do you want me to start? Do you want me to do A1 to start with, or?
Yeah, this is great here.
Oh,
no, that's fine too.
okay.
All right. So what we're looking at here, this is actually a good overview. So the top left, you see an axon plan of the main entrance of what's being proposed, and then the Tulin building off to the right, just to give your bearings. The connector that Jason just mentioned, as it comes into what will be the new ED, we create a new vestibule there that will also act as the main drop-off for the ED. Because of where the ED lands in plan, the main entrance of the hospital is also extended out. So we are providing the larger canopy that you see there. The thought is that we could provide cover for 2 cars back to back, with a full drive lane as well for passengers to be able to make it by if there is a queue, as well as an additional canopy off to the other side, exactly right there. If you want to just continue on to the next page, as we look at kind of, just I can speak broadly to materiality. We are looking to use, materials in kind of what's there today, looking to use some of the brick that's there, but also some enhancements of some limestone, recladding the stair tower, some of the accents on the columns for the new structure, to really, create this new colonnade that people are coming up to as they approach. Really something that shows the state-of-the-art facility, but is also welcoming to the community. If you want to just flip to the next page, this is around the side. So we are able to maintain the existing ambulance bay here. That's the side we're looking at. And that helps with the phasing of the construction as well. The phasing from phase 1 into phase 3 and 4 really hinges around where the ambulances are, allows us to maintain that emergency access at all times. And our goal is to keep the emergency department, their whole group, up and running at full capacity throughout the duration of the construction. So keeping that in there allows us to do so. So that's the 30-second spiel. Happy to answer questions, but that's kind of the overview of what we're looking at.
And that marks the end of our presentation. So we're ready to answer any questions that the board has.
Okay, so we don't have any audience members, so it's just going to be the board this evening. So anybody from the board has questions for the SVMC folks or the architect or the engineer, please feel free to let me know, and we'll proceed with your questions.
I do have one.
Sounds pretty cut and dry to me. Sounds good. And Mike McDonough's note there about the demolition. Mike did a usual good job with no questions there either. Sounds good.
Right, Dan, did you have a question?
Yeah, Jason, can you show the drawing that shows the traffic pattern again by any chance?
Sure.
And I'm just curious, you mentioned it was one way through the entrance.
So this is going, let me give myself a spotlight. I'm sorry, this portion here is going to be a one-way drop off.
So
This is
exiting from the main parking area, typically they
Yep.
can use the section that kind of points, I guess it's southwest.
Yeah, I mean, I had imagined a one-way, generally a one-way traffic just because of the pattern here.
Mhm.
This is wide enough to be two-way, so it will be set up for entrance and exit here.
Okay.
We haven't spoken in detail about that, but at this point, that both sides of these would be accessible in both directions. So you're right. I'm really speaking about this as being a one-way drop-off.
Okay, I just wanted to get clarification on that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Okay, any other questions from board members? Don't see any hands.
Jason, is Jason aware of what the request from the other
HPC.
board was?
Yes, we received that. We received that request. Are you speaking specifically about asking the construction company to salvage materials?
Yes.
Yeah, we did forward that on to the team today. We received that today, so we're just working through that right now.
So Jason, just to follow up on Bill's question, just as I'm putting together the findings, assuming that we proceed, does your team have any concern with those conditions proposed by the HBC? It seems like, at least except for the last one, you're pretty much going to have to do that for the State Historic Preservation Office.
So let's just review that to make sure that I read it quickly this afternoon, and
Do you have it, Jason? I have it right here.
I'm pulling it up right now, but
Okay.
if you have it right there, Dan, that'd be. So
There were 4 conditions, and I think all the board members were given this earlier today, so they're
right. So, yep. So we have a historic preservation specialist working with us on this project, and a part of her job is to prepare a report on the building, and we will share that report with the HPC when we receive it. So that's no problem. We can. We also actually in that report, there's a sort of a detailed alternatives analysis that articulates what really sort of takes us through why the lodge removal is necessary. It's also going to describe sort of the site constraints that are forcing us to bring the building out in the direction that we're bringing it in, thus requiring the removal, the movement of the front entrance to the hospital, which really limits our ability to keep that lodge, because the entrance, we really can't squeeze the entrance between the lodge building and the Tulin building. But so we have an analysis on that, and we'll be able to provide that as in a part of the report as well. And that report, item 3, will also include our financial analysis on why really relocating the lodge and maintaining the lodge is a significant capital burden for this project in particular, and then it will continue to be a capital expense with really, unfortunately, no real provide any real functional value to the hospital. So we can provide that. Will all be in that same report. And then 4th, I I have not been able to speak to the construction company yet about what type of material we could salvage, but we will discuss that with them. We can provide some feedback to the board on that.
All right, anyone else, any other board members with questions? Okay, looks like there are none. So if the board members are satisfied with the information that they've received this evening, the two alternatives would be to make a motion in open session, to make a motion to go in deliberative session, or if you're not satisfied with the information, you'd like more information, we could continue the meeting. So what's the board's pleasure on this evening?
Move that we vote right now.
Okay, so you want to move to approve it, Ron?
Want to move to approve it.
Okay,
I'll second that.
a second from Mr. Barney.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the ayes have it. It's unanimous. Thank you, folks. I will be getting out a written approval to you folks in the next few days, but that takes care of the land use approval, the local land use approval. I know you guys still are going to Act 250, and obviously you've got the building permit issues, but those are that building permit's an administrative function. I think the state actually handles that. We normally did, but not anymore. The state has now taken that over. So in any event, good luck with Act 250. Good luck with the building permit, and thank you very much for joining us this evening. And we'll look forward to seeing you when you have other projects. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks
for
everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great
Good evening.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Good night.
All right, board members, we do have some other business this evening. Charlie, do you want to address the board on your position regarding remaining chairperson?
Yes, I'd like that very much. I've decided that if the select board does reappoint me, because my term is coming up, I would like to step down as chair because I've been having trouble in the large meetings that we've had with my hearing aids at the firehouse when they're spread out. I can't hear half the people, and I don't feel it's fair for me to make a decision or vote on anything, and it's not fair to the applicant that, I may let something go by. So I would like to step down as chair, and I would like to recommend Dan Wallenberg. I have spoken to him, and he's willing to take it. So that's my motion.
So you're gonna nominate Dan, and Ron is seconding that nomination.
I was going to nominate him myself.
All right, so we have Dan, you've been nominated. Will you accept the nomination?
Is there anybody else who feels that they would like to chair?
You got to be kidding.
All right, seeing that there are no other nominations, I guess I will vote. All in favor of Dan Malmberg becoming the new chairperson of the DRB.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Or any abstention? So that's unanimous. So Dan, you're the chairperson. You're it. So you're on mute.
Starting next meeting. Yeah, the dogs went a little crazy.
Yes. So you'll be starting next meeting. We'll chat before that meeting, and you can certainly draw on Charlie's vast experience. How long you been chairperson, Charlie?
17 years, I think.
Yeah. So he's got a little experience, and you're not going anywhere, Charlie. So you can help us out if we get into trouble.
What I'd like to say is if Barry doesn't come back, I'd be willing to be the vice chair unless somebody else would like it.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, we haven't heard from Barry for a while, so we're hoping that he's going to rejoin us and that he'll reapply. His term is up this year as well. So we'll leave the vice chair position open for now. And if for some reason Dan can't serve, we'll make Charlie Kopp the temporary chairperson for that meeting until we resolve the vice chair position, if that works for everybody.
One other thing I'd like to bring up. Dan mentioned to me that he cannot do the ARP because he works. He works until the meeting starts. So we may need another member for that, and I'm willing to stay on. And who's the third person? Is that Barry?
Jane and Bill, I believe. Jane and Bear. I think Jane, you're on the ARP, right?
Barry and
Yes.
me.
Yes.
It's been just Barry and me a lot of times.
Yep. And so once we can start meeting in person again, we'll start working on that. But
Right.
for now, we'll leave it Charlie, Jane, and Barry. So. And
Is anybody else's term up?
no,
Do you-
just Barry and Charlie. Charlie's already reapplied. I've confirmed that we received your reapplication or letter of interest, Charlie. And I'll send out an email to Barry and see if he's wanting to continue to serve.
Is there any way for us to meet someplace else where the sound is better?
It's a very good point as far as the firehouse is concerned.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, but I'll look into it. We used to meet at the CDC. We had some scheduling problems there, but maybe there's a better place for us. I do agree that sound is bad, but the problem is that other venues typically we have to pay for, and the select board's not too keen on that. Since we already have our own meeting room. But I can certainly look and see if there's something that's just as convenient.
Just keep your ears open. I mean, you know.
Yes.
I think we all have trouble with the sound in there.
Yes.
What'd you
Especially if the
say?
heating unit is on. Yep.
We should have made a contingency for this plan to have the hospital build a development review board room
Yes.
as part of the project.
That would have been perfect. We missed opportunities.
Southern Vermont College we could borrow, we probably already got sound and everything. How about the theater?
That's true. That there may be some opportunities there. All kidding aside, there may be up there. So once the hospital has a better handle on what they want to do up there, I'm sure that they'll be open to community use of the property. Does anybody have any other business?
No.
Okay. So congratulations to Mr. Malmberg. We'll be chatting before the next meeting.
Thank you.
And unless there's any other business, I guess a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Do we have any likelihood of having a meeting in 2 weeks?
So we do have a
Maybe
meeting on
3 weeks.
we do have a meeting on the 4th. It's
Okay.
it's the only thing on the agenda is a minor 2-lot subdivision, so it'll be short.
Okay.
I assume. So, but that's the only thing on the agenda.
I think I just saw Charlie do the big sigh of relief. Did I see that, Charlie?
What's that?
I think I just saw you go big sigh of relief.
It's been a long time. I couldn't believe how long it was until I looked the other day and I said, oh my God. Yeah, Mike had it to start with. And then when he went to the hospital, he had to resign. So
Well, Charlie, I want to thank you for your long service, and I'm sure you got lots of years of service ahead of you. So, but thank you for your years so far.
I hope so.
All right, everybody. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Aye.
Okay. Ron seconded. All in favor of adjourning?
Yeah.
That looks
Yeah.
unanimous.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Have a
Aye.
good evening.
Bye now.
Thanks.